Hello guys, welcome to the stream. Here I am joined by Madmat and Alexis. Say hi guys.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I am Alexis and he's
And I'm Matthieu, aka Madmat.
They're here to talk about the Fate of Finland DLC, aren't you guys?
Sure.
So the first question that I had today was, why did you choose Finland as the focus for the latest DLC?
Because Finland offered the opportunity to add a new nation. We had promised with the story pass to add 3 new nations, 1 per story pack. So we have added Poland with the first one, although it was part of the Soviet army. And we're adding Finland in this one. You'll see which one we'll add for the third.
Also, we had the feeling that it was not that much covered in video games, the Finland.
Yes, people know the Winter War about Finland, but not the end of the Continuation War, and especially the Battle of Karelia, which was which decided the fate of Finland at the end of the Second World War.
Awesome. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I agree that Finland isn't really covered that much at all, is it? So I think it's a really good idea. Second question, what is your favorite division from the new DLC and why?
Mine is 126 Light Rifle Corps, so Gornostrelkis. It's a Soviet division, and I'm mostly an infantry player. And this one has all the new Soviet infantry, mountain troops and naval troops, and fun tanks like the BT-7.
Yeah. What about you, Alexis?
I like the one with the armored one.
Yeah, the Finnish Panzer division.
And in fact, I'm more. I don't know why, but I play mostly on the Axis side. Usually, I like to play with the German tanks.
Yeah, I think the Finnish is really cool.
The more I like playing with infantry. So I'm changing from being a full tankist player to a more infantry player.
Yeah, there's a lot of awesome infantry in the DLC for sure, and I think yeah, the new tanks, especially like in the Finnish divisions, there's a lot of variants and a lot of new stuff, which is really cool. All right, let's move on to the next one. Could you talk about the maps and how you chose to adapt the locations you base them on?
We are usually selecting for the DLC. We are choosing areas depending of the historical scenarios we will feature. So in this one, it was the Battle of Tali and Tala. Sorry for my pronunciation of Finns with a French accent. And we select an historical battle, and we choose the map depending on the historical battle. That's for the DLC. For the game at release, we had both realistic battlefield. I mean, real battles, and so we were choosing others for more balanced perspective.
Okay, cool. For those of you guys in the chat, what we're planning to do today is we are just I've got a few questions that I've sort of collated from everybody, and we'll get to questions in the chat afterwards if we have time, so bear with me. Next question, could you explain the new raider mechanic, and will it have an impact in Army General?
Not at the strategic level. Besides the unit, the mountain troops, which get radar tray, are not in the campaign. They are in Finland. They were fighting in Finland, but outside the Battle of Karelia.
Right.
So they are not part of the Army General. In tactical game, they are working like paratroopers in Steel Division 1. So they are tougher troops to force to surrender.
Right. Okay. So yeah, and they don't get the penalty from being behind enemy lines, do they? So That should be quite interesting. All right, so we're on to like more sort of, I guess, general questions now. Having released the mod tools, what would you most like to see from the community? And will we see an expansion on the mod tools to possibly include a map editor?
Well, for the first question, what we really like with the mod tools is we're looking to them carefully, and sometimes there are some great ideas that bump into our head and make us think about new things that we can add to the game. And so I think it's really great, and also it's great to see what the community is, like searching how they are changing the game. I think it is really interesting. Regarding the map editor, we still have some difficulties to make it, like open and for the community to create new maps. But we've improved our process, and we'll still have some hopes that at one point we'll be able to release a map editor one day. But actually, for having the map in the game, it has to come through different processes, and it's kind of complex. So that's why it takes a lot of time, and we can't be sure to be able to release it one day.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you're considering it for sure. On the same vein of like the maps, in this DLC, how many maps was it that you added?
In this DLC, 2 maps.
Okay. Is there any plans to make like a 10v10 map? Because a lot of people do play 10v10. Is there anything to do with that in the future potentially?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, what we have in mind actually is regarding the maps is 2 things. We would like, we have the feeling, and we hope that we've improved the way you can play the game through the smart orders. We are adding also the rules of engagement that allows to customize the behavior of the different units in the game. And we believe that we reduce a lot the micromanagement for a lot of players. So we're looking also to create urban maps, because I think infantry is pretty important in CL Division 2, and I think this could change the way we play. So these, and also a 10 versus 10 game where those new ideas can get into. So absolutely, there are things that we are willing to create and to promote in CL Division 2.
Oh, cool. That's actually quite exciting that you're talking about making urban maps, but also 10v10. So we could maybe see like a big 10v10 map that was focused on a city or something. That would be really cool. Yeah. Okay, that's exciting. You mentioned the new rules of engagement. Is that just part of like the philosophy with like accessibility and trying to make the game a lot more easy to play in that sense?
Yes, in fact, the what we have in mind is we believe that we have a community that knows how to play the game and knows how to play it very well, and we believe that we won't like to. Oh, is it on our side?
Should be okay. I'm okay.
Okay.
Yes. We don't have the video.
Maybe it's just on our side. So if it's
we can
okay,
still see you. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. And yes, what we're saying is we don't want to change the game for the players that know how to play the game, but we want to give them more tools to like customize the way the units are behaving, and also for newcomers. The idea we want to push forward is how new players can get into the game and not be overwhelmed by like too many micromanagement to deal with and things like this. this is really a long-term thinking and experience that we want to to work on. How could we make a game like Steel Division something that is very authentic in terms of military World War II warfare, but can be very easy to get into for players, and also extremely the way you can play it right now, you can do whatever you want with the unit. All the mechanism that is in the game is totally simulated. So how can we create those ramps for new players, which I think is something that is can be very exciting. If we can have a bigger community playing the game and reduce the learning curve, that would be awesome. So it's an ongoing effort on our side.
Yeah, because initially, like, the game obviously didn't come out with a tutorial, and I think you realized pretty quickly that it needed one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good that you're focusing more on that now, for sure. I said my next question is, Steel Division 2 had a very large increase on scale from Steel Division normally 44. Do you think this has worked out well, and is it what you envisioned?
Yeah, I think so. I think I think we're pretty happy with this, with the scale of the.
We thought when we moved to the Eastern Front, we thought we have to expand the scale to something. When you think about the Russian front, you think hordes of tanks, of infantry, while Normandy was more company battalion battles within a bocage, a village, while East Front is it should be on a much bigger scale.
Yeah, I understand. If you went back to the Western Front, do you think you would maintain the same scale?
Depends. In Normandy, with a lot of obstacle of bocage, village, on a large scale, it will be very hard to lead your battle. While if we were playing in the northeastern part of France, we could have a larger scale like today.
Okay.
But normally the game has to be scalable. So what we're talking about, the urban maps, is also a way to propose a taste a little bit different, because urban maps by itself are more confined and more small. So you have to focus more on how can you deal with all those units attacking and do things like this. So I think it has to be also within Steel Division 2, and have what we try to do with Steel Division is, can we create at one point the I would say it's maybe a little bit the best World War II tactical and strategical World War II game. So it has to encompass a lot of things. It has to encompass the thing that you were saying.
Yeah. There's quite a good question in chat from Nephisto here. He says, where do you guys get the equipment toll of every division in 1944? Is it hard to get the information you need, basically?
It's very hard for the Russian, for the Soviets, sorry. For the German, you have a lot of documents online or published about roll calls and equipment list at any given date, usually one per month. For the Russian, it's actually harder, and we have to rely on historical table of organization.
Fair enough. Yep.
And so usually we take the theoretical one, and we add for infantry division, we had a tank brigade for which we have identified a specific equipment in books or in Soviet memoirs or publish on the internet or anything like that. It's for the German, it's not an issue. For the Soviet, it is a bit.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I've got a question here. Do you plan to include any other theatres of war outside of the Eastern Front in Steel Division 2?
Time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell. But actually, what we definitely for the last DLC that is coming with the History Pass, History Pass, it will be in the Eastern Front because it was what we were saying when we sold it to the players. But of course, our ambition is to if players are still at the rendezvous, is to draw everything from World War II. So there are a lot of places where we would like to to cover and create different things. So yeah, we would be very excited to continue the experience with Steel Division.
Right. Do you think that would be more likely in a sequel, or?
I don't know. I think honestly, I don't know. I don't know what would be the best. Sometimes it depends on how much you want to change or add new elements. If we add too many elements, we'll have to make a sequel, because otherwise it's kind of you changing too much the game, and it could be somehow you have to keep a legacy. No, legacy is not the right term in English. Well, we have to be consistent, but if it doesn't change that much, it could be like something like.
Then it would just be a DLC.
Yeah.
So that's why we're trying to stick for the moment to the summer of 44. So we can add equipment which is on the same time period for every nation we had. So we could add other theater from the same time period within Steel Division 2. But not expand it to Stalingrad or Campaign of Poland or Africa Corps within Steel Division 2.
Right, okay, that's cool. Yeah, because I think people are still playing like Steel Division Normandy 44 because it's almost like a different game, isn't it? So yeah, I think that's cool. I've got another question here. Are there any plans to introduce the ability to reconnect to games? Because like disconnecting with games can be quite frustrating in RTSs, and it's not really something that's actually in many RTS games, but just a curious question there.
Like you mean you've been kicked from the game because
like you just disconnected? Yeah.
No, we don't have we didn't think about this, but yeah, that could be an idea. But we to be very honest, we never thought about anything like this right now.
Right, okay. In a previous post, you wrote about the Army General multiplayer. Is there any update on that?
Yes, we are not very far from finishing the opposition mode, where you can play 1 versus 1 from the so you start and one is selecting one or the other general. So this works actually, and we are finishing debugging stuff and things like this, and we are also working on the co-op mode. Okay. So this we should announce it. I hope the sooner, but it's clear that it's something that is on the way. And the co-op mode will be probably released after the opposition mode.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to like multiplayer campaign. I think when a lot of people saw it, it was like one of the first things that came to a lot of people's minds, like, oh, this would be awesome to play with my friends or whatever, that kind of thing. So
cool.
Yeah. Another question: are there plans to reintroduce any more of the Steel Division Normandy 44 divisions?
It could be done. It's not. We're not planning it yet. because it's basically the same work to bring
Yeah.
44 divisions to SD2. So if we have the choice, we'd rather add new stuff than bring back old ones.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's honestly kind of what I expected, but I think it was a question that some people wanted to ask. When it comes to like new maps and stuff, have you considered like snow maps? Like snow is something that always seems to come up, especially when you think about the Eastern Front. I think a lot of people relate it to snow. So do you think you'll add anything like that in the future?
We've made tests, visual tests once for airland battles, but snow maps with snow tanks, it doesn't look very good actually.
But yeah, probably, and we also are improving our technology. So we are adding, like PBR stuff. That's probably something that we'll be thinking about, because you have to, if we do snow map, we have to try to make it looking the best, and that the snow will look very, like genuine snow with snow effects and stuff like that. So it also has linked to the technology.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine like there'll be like you'd have to do all like the tracks through the snow and like all of the physics effects and stuff like that would be quite difficult to do, which is yeah. But the thing is you already have like the grass being pushed aside and stuff like that. I don't know. Interesting. How active is your work on the AI, as in behavior, different tactics, etc.? Is there any improvement being made to that over time?
For army generals or in tactical AI?
Both.
So in army general, we are improving it, and the improvement will be the new version of the AI will be delivered with a patch next week with the DLC.
Cool.
So, and tactical AI, as I was saying in the French interview just earlier, we had a pretty good AI at release, and everybody thought it was cheating. So we had to lower it a bit.
Yeah.
So why? No, we are not planning to improve back the AI. So if it means for player pressing the AI cheat, people don't like to be beaten by an AI.
In fact, what we did, the normal AI, when we changed the normal AI to hard, because players were a lot of players were very disappointed because they were beaten by a normal AI, meaning that they had the feeling, okay, I'm so bad,
No, that's the feeling that the AI cheat.
Yeah,
they wouldn't think they are so bad.
And the AI was cheating. So actually, we have the feeling that the AI is good enough. When we play, actually, what we did with Madmat is we were trying the destruction mode for the game. So the first version of the destruction mode we had was not really satisfying. So that's why we redesigned it, and that's why we would not be able to deliver it next week, but it's going to be delivered a little bit later. So we were playing against the very hard, and then we redesign. And now when we're testing it against the very hard, for us it's kind of a challenge, because the pace is high enough. It is very aggressive. So I believe this is something that is working pretty, I would say, in a good way. So we're more focusing on what we believe that should be, patched or corrected for the game.
Right.
What Matt was saying regarding the Army General mode, I think the AI under Army General mode was the dumbest ever. It was very easy to circle it and do things like this. We improve it a lot. Because I think it was coming from very low, and we hope that players in the community will be happy with the new AI and the way it attacked or not attacking or defending, depending on the side you play. But still, we would like to improve it, and maybe trying to focusing on elements that are not at the level of quality that that we believe that everybody believes it should be. So that's the idea. But if the community is asking for, like more AI, better AI for on the tactical side, we'll be more than happy to make some.
Just ramp it up a bit.
Yeah,
provide it back as it was.
Okay. Yeah, because there isn't actually currently the option to play very hard in the campaign. Is that something you've considered adding?
Yes, and next week you will be able to select very hard.
Okay.
And it changed also. We changed some settings to make it stronger. So it should be better. It should be more exciting.
Okay, cool. All right, that's more or less all of the questions that I had. There's one in the chat from Angry Bird. It says, could you ask if they have considered bringing back the time limit to Conquest as an option?
Well, on the new mode that the destruction mode, there isn't any time limit. So if you want to play without time limit, the destruction mode will be dedicated for. And as we were focusing on bringing back the destruction mode, and I think we made it right because it really has the taste. Well, my feeling, it has the taste of the wargame destruction mode, where you are fighting for few objectives, and you try to push for those objectives and try not to push too hard, trying to limit at the maximum the casualties, because otherwise, the enemy score is ramping up.
Yep.
But it took us a lot of time to make it right, and still we haven't finished. We've heard a lot that players were complaining about the time limit, and I think one part of the answer coming from us is the destruction mode. And but still, we can think about having an option on the Conquest mode to remove it.
I think the concern is more adding a time limit to Conquest games so that they end at a certain time, regardless of the current position of the game.
Yeah, I understand. And but I think, yeah, like I was saying, we were thinking about answering it with adding a new mod, and probably this is something that we're gonna rework in the next couple of months. But I think it's cool. The destruction mode really adds something different. It's a different taste. It's a different way you play with your division. And you don't have to focus entirely on the front line. You just focus on very few objective to take. It's interesting. I think it's interesting, and it brings something new to the game, which I'm eager to listen to the feedbacks.
Yeah, because you're not so focused in the destruction mode map. You're not so focused on what you need to do on the front line. You're more focused on your kills and losses. So
you're focusing on your kill, but your kills is more, like you're focusing on the economy, because each objective that you capture will give you a better economy. So sometimes it's a good thing, like to deal some units, have some losses, but you will have economy to recover them. But if you're storming, your assault is not good enough, then you lose more than what you win. So you have this taste of being, I think, like a colonel and dealing with, trying to do a push or stopping the offensive because it's too expensive in terms of losses.
Okay, interesting question in the chat asking about free weekends, and do you have any more plans for like marketing the game? Because on release it wasn't really that good. Is there any like plans to increase that and get more people into the game?
Yes, we're thinking with regarding the free weekend, we would like I think with the we'll see with the with the smart orders, with the rules of engagement, and also we added a lot of feedbacks showing all the orders that you can give to your order. You can display them all the time, so it makes the game easier to play. We would like to have something that could be close to perfect for the free weekend in order to bring more players. But definitively, a free weekend will be something that we would like to provide.
Okay, cool. I'll be happy to like push out about that as well. That'd be cool. Yeah. So if you guys have any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Is there anything you guys would like to say about the new DLC that maybe hasn't already been mentioned?
We've also improved some cosmetic elements of the game, like a lot of elements from the interface to make them. Some of the players were saying that the interface was not good enough, so we try to make it more appealing, adding small details and stuff like this. I hope players will like it. I think this the release of the DLC, and especially the free element of this DLC, is a more polished version of the game, adding new stuff. I think it could be really cool.
Yes. And there will be also, with the release of the DLC, there will be a patch addressing some of the concerns community have been voicing lately, like the state of recon, which a lot of people have been addressing.
Yeah, I've been hoping to be able to say something about that, but I've been like keeping my lid on it.
We were aware of it, and it was on our priority. It was a big work we knew we had to do, but we needed time and test for that, and we finally went to work on it. And so there will be a major change in all the scouting rules, and we've also changed a bit the counter battery smart orders and stuff like that. We've been reading the forums, discords, and we've been working on a big patch for the release of the DLC.
Yeah, I think the patch has really come along well. Wanda said something about the remaking the critical system, but I think a lot of that came to do with the PTRDs and PTRSs that were causing too many criticals, and I think that's another thing that's been changed in the latest, the patch that's going to be coming out as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, there will be a change with critical systems. There will be less critical and more death.
Yeah, so it's more lethal. Yeah.
In fact, what we had before the patch is every shells were making a lot of critical all the time. So if you had a big tank with a really big cannon, whatever you were doing, there were critics all the time. Now it's much more lethal. Like if you got a big tank, it's going to destroy things. It will be much more difficult to make critics on it. Sorry. And if you use RPCR shells, then you will have the more classical system of critics. So I think it's streamlined in a better way the pace of the game. It is more clear when you have big tanks versus small tanks.
Yeah. This is an interesting question. Are we going to see more skins? There were skins with the pre-order and Commander Edition, but they haven't really been touched on since.
Yes. So we'll be we have promised, I think, 30, and there will be 15 new skins with the DLC.
That's cool. Yeah, because it's really cool. Like in the armory, when you can go in and you can change like the ISU 1521. I really like that one. It's like almost digital camo on it. It looks really cool. Let's see if we can find something else. So we are definitely getting more skins, guys. There was a question about the replay system. Do you think that you'll be adding more functionality to the replay system so that they can be like mined for more information? Because more specifically, Bets runs a bot called Sobbot, and he basically uses that to pull out and identify what's in the replays. So he was thinking, like, would it would be interesting to be able to pull out more information, like the kills and maybe that kind of stuff. Do you think that might be able to be added?
Yeah, that's definitely something we can do, and we can work on. Actually, it's not on our list, but this could be interesting.
Okay, awesome. That was a pretty simple answer. Ooh, interesting. Lycus says that would Eugen sponsor / provide support for multiplayer events such as Primus's multiplayer campaign? Do you think you're going to support more community endeavors?
Yeah, that could be cool. Actually, we are focusing a lot on creating content, on polishing the game, things like this. But we would like to be more the community and like we're supporting only the game in terms of content, and if we can support the game in other ways, that could be very interesting too. So we're absolutely open to this kind of way of thinking. As you know, we now are self-publishing the game, so there are a lot of things that we are not experts in doing things, and we've got limited manpower, so we need to make priorities. We believe that the top priorities should be the quality of the experience that we provide to the community, and then the more we work on the game, the more time we have to do things all around.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions, guys? We can maybe finish up. See if anything else pops up quickly. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us today. It has been really, really awesome to hear your thoughts and everything. Ooh, here's an interesting one. Of all the source materials, books, pictures, documentary, and audio records that you use for historical background, which one did you like the most and why?
I don't know what does it mean by Matthieu the most. My favorite book on the Eastern Front? Or I don't know.
It's like yeah, like which one did you like? Sort of I don't know. Like, did you enjoy? I guess.
Best book on the Eastern Front, actually, in my opinion, the work of a French historian, which isn't translated. I think he is called Jean Lopez.
Yeah.
And is specialized on the Eastern Front, and especially on the operational Soviet operational art of war. And he's very good at explaining that, and he writes very well. And he's written a lot of books on, especially one of Bagration, which has been passed around the studio when we started working, but also on Cherkasy, Berlin, and many other fronts, and it's very good.
Okay, awesome. Comash asked when we will get to see the new divisions. I'm actually going to be streaming this weekend. I think we're allowed to stream the new content, aren't we? So you'll get to see that in advance. But yeah. Nefista says, can you please tell us a little detail about the new balance patch? I think we already covered that earlier. So, did you see the War Game for when question?
Wondering when it will come.
That's cool to have still people eager to have a new War Game.
It's become the new Half-Life 3 question.
Yeah, exactly.
Active Aggression 2.
Asking for active aggression 2. Yeah. That's cool also.
Look what with it.
All right, okay, I think we can call it there. So I think we've covered most of it. So yeah, big thanks to you guys for joining us today.
A big pleasure.
Yes,
great pleasure to see you again.
Thank you for organizing.
Yeah, it's always my pleasure. Thank you very much, guys, and thanks to my community as well for pitching in. So there we go. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.
Good evening.
Good evening.